Got it all figured out. All right. So tell me about your lesson that you're going to be doing today.
Okay, so today is the intro lesson for a text we do in our Study Sync curriculum called Prometheus. And so essentially we'll just be getting into the lesson through some visuals first, and then the students will read the Greek myth. And then what we call the first read is really where the students are able to identify keywords, references, etc. that they're unaware of, and then they get the opportunity to research that information and build contextual knowledge.
Oh, okay. All right. So what kind of strategies you'll be using during your lesson to help them visualize what's going on and then move on to the next project?
So the very first thing I'll do is project the image. It's an artistic expression of the Prometheus myth, and I'll be using some sentence frames to help my students reflect upon the image. And then we'll read the image, or we'll read the text together. So we'll do guided reading, and while they're reading, they're expected to circle any words they don't understand. So we'll practice some close reading strategies too.
Okay.
So those are some of the strategies.
Sounds good. And then we talked about sentence framing when we were doing our EL training last week. So have you found that helpful with your EL kids?
Definitely. And so I like, two of the things we talked about were visualizing and sentence framing. And so I'm kind of marrying both of those together.
Nice.
Now this is going to be an honors class.
Oh, okay.
So they don't always need it, but even in an honors class, there is quite a bit of levels that occur. I mean, there still are EL students. It's just that honor students tend to be highly motivated, but it doesn't mean that they still don't have struggles in language.
Right. What standards do you think that you'll be focusing on for yourself as you go through this lesson?
There's quite a few. I would say that standard 3, so understanding and organizing the subject matter. I definitely organized this lesson to produce kind of an into activity for the unit as a whole. Something else that you'll probably see is 2.6, so establishing routines and norms. I think that it'll be pretty evident within the first 10 minutes of my class what the procedures are. Let's see. Also,
do you have regular advent?
yeah, it's in the front. Also, let's see. The engagement. So using so standard 1.1, focusing on engagement with the visual, and then the close reading activity also engages them to monitor their own learning, and it helps to differentiate. So not any one student will have the same annotations, and that's the point, is for students who already know a lot about the content, they can extend their learning.
Right.
Whereas the students who just don't even know the words are able to read and understand those, so they can get a basic knowledge.
Yeah, that really ties to their Lexile levels also. The ones that have the high Lexile levels are more likely to be familiar with a lot of the vocabulary, so then they would be focusing on different concepts, and they might even be looking more at like the imagery and the meaning behind it and not just hung up on some of the words. Right.
And then what I've encountered with the text is that I had a student in my previous period who knew all the words, but he had some questions. So one of the other annotations is question marks.
Oh, okay.
And so he noticed that there was this fusion between Roman and Greek gods, and he wanted to know why. So then he started to further investigate what are the trees of the gods look like, and when did that kind of transference happen. And so he was able to enrich his understanding rather than just finding out definitions.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds great. All right, well, I'll need to, I'll probably just watch about 20 minutes of your class time today, and then we can set up a time to do the post-observation conference later on in the week if we need to.
Yeah.
All right,
no problem.
thank you.
Yeah.